Okay, so we are live on Facebook. Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, December 28th, 2020. I am Rachelle Eason, and I am excited to have one of my besties here with me this morning. Tricia Woodland is here. There she is. You want to say hello, Tricia?
Hello, Tricia.
There she is, and that is typical Tricia. So before we get started, let me just remind you where you can catch all kinds of goodies with Rachelle Eason Artist. Of course, here on Facebook at Rachelle Eason Artist, on Instagram at Rachelle_Eason_artist, on Twitter at Rachelle Eason, YouTube, Rachelle Eason Artist, and on Anchor for the podcast at Rachelle-Eason, and anywhere that you get your podcast, you should be able to pick up mine. So today, I hope everybody has had a wonderful holiday. Whatever you celebrate, we wish you well and happy season to you. And Tricia and I go way back. And Tricia is out of Cherryville, North Carolina, and we are potters together and artists together and friends together, obviously. And I'm gonna let Tricia tell you a little bit about her background and what she does, actually, because she is an integral part in Uptown Shelby, North Carolina, where I actually had my retail store for many years. So Tricia, tell us a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, pre-COVID. So I'm the marketing and events person for Uptown Shelby Association in Shelby, North Carolina. And that means that I get to make fun things happen in Uptown Shelby. It's a great community. It's seen a lot of growth over the last 10 years. We've got great restaurants, an awesome brewery. We've got cool stores and shops and a couple museums and an arts council and a gallery and just great things. And so as the events and marketing person, I try to create events that, one, will bring fun and life to the sidewalks of Uptown Shelby, and also attract visitors to come to the town and just make it lively and vibrant and exciting, and
make it happen.
Try to make it happen. And that's been really challenging over the last year. And our winter months are usually a little slow. Mm-hmm. And last March, then it got really slow because of COVID. And so I've been doing a lot more marketing and just letting people know how important it is to support your local businesses.
Right.
Those small businesses, every day that their doors can stay open, and every person that comes in and makes even a small purchase, it matters. I mean, that's their livelihood, and it matters so much. And so this year especially, we've had to do just such a big emphasis on shopping local, support the businesses you love, because people love these businesses.
Right.
In Uptown Shelby. I mean, these are owned by their friends. They hang out there with their friends. And so it's important that, during this last year, that we didn't just get totally siloed to the point where we didn't spend any dollars outside of, the internet and big box stores that can deliver to your door and stuff like that. So that's what I do. So I in a good year, in a normal year, I'd plan concerts and Christmas parades and carriage rides and sidewalk sales and music on the streets and all types
you are really the action up there. You bring the action, you support the action big time. I know that's one of the things when I had my store up there. Of course, you were one of my buddies, so you hung out with me and supported my store big time, but as well as the other stores Uptown Shelby. And you're such a supporter of local, which is one of the things that benefits Shelby, of course, benefits Uptown Shelby, because you truly believe in supporting your local wherever you are. Right. You've even come down here and visited me. And we celebrate local I try to celebrate local all the time, but especially when you've been here, we've gone out and hit all the local spots, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, once you get that mindset, you start to realize the difference between chain.
Right.
Big corporations own these chain restaurants, these chain businesses, or is this owned by just a person or a family? And that's just important.
It sure is. And part of that, I think, is probably fueled by the fact that you are an artist. You are a potter.
Yeah.
Before you started in this position, you actually were a co-founder to Buffalo Creek Gallery.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the gallery and what's going on right now and how people can actually, I'm going to flip over to the website. It's buffalocreekgallery.com. And I hope people can see that. And the great thing about Buffalo Creek Gallery is that it obviously hosts local artists and all of their wares, but you don't have to be local to shop there. Yeah. So, Tricia, talk a little bit about Buffalo Creek Gallery. It's one of my favorite places in North Carolina.
Sure. So this year, or 2021, we will celebrate our 15th year. I mean, wow. It's so hard to believe 15 years we've been there. And it started with, I think it was 22 very like-minded artists that wanted a place to be able to show and sell their work. And so it's a co-op, it's a members gallery. So all the members of this gallery all work together to pay the bills, keep it open, open the doors every day. We don't have any paid staff. It's just all these members. We all split up the calendar, split up jobs, and work. And then we also have consignment artists. And just, as any consignment artist would do, is they just have their work in the gallery, and we just take a higher percentage of commission off of that. But yeah, so, and it's been a challenge this year, as with every small business. It's been challenging. We were closed for a couple months during the stay-at-home order, and that was leading up to Mother's Day. And so one of the creative things that we did was we just all chipped in, all the members, even some of the consignment artists. We all gave a thing, gave a piece of artwork, and we put together, these cute little Mother's Day baskets. People had been stuck at home. They hadn't been able to even think about Mother's Day, really. And so when we put it on Facebook, that we were doing these bundles, people loved it. And we created a retail price, and then we created a price that we were sending. They were all great deals for people, and people snatched them up. I mean, we had, I think, maybe 15 bundles, and people snatched them up pretty quick. And we made arrangements for people to pull up. They paid for them on PayPal. They pulled right up to the sidewalk, and we handed them out because we weren't open then. Right. It was one of those situations that we still weren't open, but we could say, we'll meet you there and hand it to you. And then like you were curious, and you were staying at home for another reason. Yes. But wanted to do a little shopping.
Yes, and I'm in Florida, and you're in North Carolina.
Right. She needed a little therapy, a little retail therapy, a little shopping therapy. That's right. And so I took my phone and FaceTimed with Rachelle and walked around the whole store. That's right. And the thing is if you all know Rachelle, you know that all you have to do is zoom in on the purple things, because she's not interested in much else.
That's so true.
I just got my phone, and I'm looking around. I was like, I see purple. Hold on. And it was a lot of fun. But and we were closed. I mean, that's the funny thing, is we were closed. I cut on the lights. I did that.
That was awesome. And I bought Christmas presents too. At that time, this was in July.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, and I was home recovering, and we just had to do it. There were just some
Mhm.
pretty things that I caught a glimpse of on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I need to see that closer.
Yep, yep.
And and so I think that's just an awesome way for people to continue to shop at small businesses, whether or not they're online. Because even though you have a website, you don't actually have product online to
Right,
sell.
right. We are not that organized.
Yeah. And you have things coming in and out all the time too with different artists.
Yeah.
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 But you do have phones and you do have video chatting.
Yep.
So, anybody can call and say, hey, you know what? I need a fabulous pair of earrings in purple, and you'll go around the shop and
Yeah. There's a number of us artists that manage the Facebook page, and we're quick to respond to any type of questions or comments or whatever. And we even, did a little thing through the holidays where we said, call us, message us, whatever, we will help you shop.
Right.
We know that there's people, even right now, I mean, things are not great right now with our numbers here. And we know people do not want to come out and shop, and they're not sure about safety and things like that. And so we're more than happy to help. And, a number of businesses, especially in those spring, early summer months, were doing some of the same things where they were dropping stuff off on doorsteps. And that is small business work.
Because
they care enough about their business that they are willing to get in their cars and drive around the neighborhoods and drop stuff off just to get a sale. I mean,
wow, that's amazing. And I think that, it all comes down to a small business community, because I know, so my shop was down in the Uptown Shelby area, and we definitely had a sense of community, and that carries on in times of trouble. I mean, in times of when you need to pull together. One of the things I always think of is when we were doing the, and you have to help me with the name, because it was a concert that people stood up, people went to different corners or different parts of Uptown.
Yeah, that was,
and I can't remember, and I did the, we bought golf club bags or boxes.
The boxes that you would ship golf clubs in. Yeah, we still have those. They're still in the closet.
That's so awesome. And I painted those.
Yeah. That,
it was like a music stop. So there were like several of them around town.
We hadn't really gotten into having buskers yet.
Okay.
And so, and so we created one evening where we had music going on all different corners, and we had a drum circle. Oh my gosh, I fell in love with drumming and drum circle that night.
Wow.
That was great. And I've got a great picture of that box with one of Luke Edwards, one of our musicians in town, next to the box. But we still have the boxes. We're not getting rid of those. Those are pieces of artwork.
They are pieces of artwork, and actually they inspired me, because if you know, and I know you'll be with me tomorrow night in art journaling, but we're doing an art journaling class tonight. We do one every Monday night and every Tuesday night, but this week is actually free for everybody to join. And I was inspired still by those boxes, and we're doing actually a Cocapelli spread this week.
Nice.
So, because I painted Cocapellis on those boxes. So,
that's fun. I'm gonna like that.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. So, anyways, I think one of the things that I really love about what you are doing with that position is because of your background in the arts, in pottery and all of that. And there is art everywhere. That's one of the things I always say. There's art everywhere. And I always say to people, that shirt you're wearing, that top you're wearing, an artist designed that, and all of that. And truly, in Uptown Shelby, there is a shop that every art is designed, of course, or every top is designed. But in Uptown Shelby, there's Peace Avenue.
Yes.
And I'm actually wearing a Peace Avenue shirt. You can't see, but I have a little tree on the bottom of mine.
Yeah, nice.
And I got one for Christmas. It was on my Christmas wish list, and we do a Secret Santa. And my son drew my name, and on my wish list, I had about 6 different things on my wish list, and he chose the piece from Peace Avenue. So I was just thrilled to get that. But yeah, Peace Avenue is one of those shops that you support, and they go to local artists for the artwork that is on their shirts that they actually print.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they do. And actually, they're the ones that they were out there hustling, delivering stuff to people's doorsteps during the spring and stuff like that. So and they've got a pretty good online store, and so that's great.
They do.
There's a few of our businesses that have good online stores in Uptown Shelby, but not a lot. That's its own entity.
It is its own entity, but I do think it's a testament to those that are combining the business with the situation that we have, and really trying to support local, but also attend to their community. And I think that that's one thing that art definitely does, is art is everywhere. And you started art journaling with me when I actually had my shop. My shop was called Art Blooms. And I had Art Blooms for about 5 years. We started out in Boiling Springs, North Carolina, and then we moved the shop to Shelby. And you started taking some classes, art journaling classes, every Monday night. We had art journaling up there as well. And it's a little different now. We did a mixed media type of artwork up there, and then now here I do. It's pretty much strictly watercolor. It's a little bit more in depth, I think, as far as the mental wellness and emotional well-being, which you have a lovely story, both about you and somebody special in your life, about how art journaling has really helped. It's an online weekly activity that we do, weekly class, and it's live. And tell me a little bit about what art journaling has meant to you, especially during COVID.
Well, it's, in one way, it's given me something to do one night a week. I mean, when you're on a stay-at-home order, or during this whole COVID thing, one night a week of something is important. And, and I remember, I guess we've been talking, I don't know, maybe, who knows what we're talking about.
Because we're talking all the time, several times a week.
But you said, oh, you should come to the class tonight, and so I remember we were on a strict stay-at-home order, and and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I even have here at the house for our journaling supplies? I was like, I've got some drawing pad that I used when I took a class at your place, which I'll tell the folks at home, and I'll show you evidence of. Drawing pads and watercolor paper are completely different things. And I was like, surely I've got like some junky Crayola watercolors somewhere in this house. Couldn't find them. So right outside my neighborhood, there's a Dollar General. And I went to Dollar General, and they were actually out of watercolors, but they did have, weird thing, watercolor pencils.
Wow. Yeah.
Junky, cheap, probably $2 a box, watercolor pencils. So I said, okay, what the heck? I'll get those. And so I came home, and I logged in, and I took that first class, and I actually pulled this because I've kept it on my refrigerator. My first one. But just so you can see, this is why you don't use drawing paper for watercolors, is because it gets all crinkly. But that's not bad.
I love it.
For not having any supplies.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, and the point is, you don't have to have all these wonderful supplies. Right. Now, since then, I've gotten better supplies, ever so slightly. And Santa Claus actually brought me even some better supplies. So, but yeah, so... But it was great.
But it's about the journey too, right? It's
right,
about,
and that's what, and I mean, and that's what this was talking about, the journey.
Yeah.
And it's funny that this was the start.
That's
first
right.
one. But yeah, so it gives you some time to reflect, and it gives you some time to turn off the TV,
right.
And it gives you some time to just play around with colors, which is what I love. That's I didn't think I was really going to like watercolors because they tend to get kind of muted and soft, and of course my only experience was Crayola.
Right.
painting,
That's a little different.
painting shells as a little kid at the beach.
Yeah.
With watercolors, but yeah, I love the colors. I love combining the colors. I love seeing how the colors bleed into each other and stuff like that, because as being a potter, glazes are very specific. Right. I mean, and a lot of times they don't, like, if you combine two, sometimes they don't make a new color. Right. Sometimes they actually scream, "We don't play well together." I mean, and so you don't get a lot of that blending and shading and all that stuff. And I love that. Yeah. But I like having a place to be one night a week with friends, because now I know these ladies that are in the class, and it's good. Yeah. It's all good. And then, because you were saying this is a twofold thing.
That's right. It is.
What do you get? What do you get your parents for Christmas and for birthdays and for Mother's Day and Father's Day, when they have everything? I mean, it's hard. And so I decided I was going to just take this big risk. And for my mom's birthday is the beginning of August. And so I got her a month of art journaling for the month of September. Got her a journal, got her some paints, watercolors, and that's what I gave her. The biggest challenge was learning how to do Zoom, which still, to this day, we're still doing a little Zoom practice. Yeah. But
she's come a long way.
But yes, she learned to work the volume button the other night.
Right. Very good. Very good.
Yeah. But it has been, and at first I wasn't sure, she's done other things like scrapbooking and things like that. But more and more she has learned to just love this. And the class is, what is it, 2 hours long?
They're 2 hours long, and you gifted her 1 month. So she started actually in September.
Right. She started in September. Yeah. So it's a 2-hour class, and
every week. Yeah.
And Rachelle goes through it pretty quickly because she knows what she's doing. And the rest of us are like trying to figure out what she's doing. Mostly for 2 hours, we're trying to figure her out. And
which is actually on purpose, because I want you to respond with the first idea that comes to your mind rather than analyze.
Right. So anyways, so my mom, will go through that 2 hours, and she'll do some, but she will work on that project, just giving it little tweaks, finishing it, tweaking it, whatever. She'll do that all week.
Yeah.
And awesome. We had Christmas Zoom together a couple days ago, and we were talking about all the good and the bad of this whole year of COVID and the sacrifices that we've all had to make by not being able to do things or go out or see family for holidays and stuff like that. And she said, well, thank God for the art class. Oh. She said, because now I have something to do.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
And she does. I call, no matter what day of the week I call. What are you doing, Mom? I'm painting. Okay, Mom. And stuff like that. Awesome. And my dad's very grateful too, because he's probably not getting so many honeydew projects and
so she continued. She went on and she continued after September, and she's still with us. She's with us each week. And
and I can't imagine, her not taking the classes, because
and it's so fun because, and I've said this before, and you and I have been friends for very long time, so many years. I think it's about 8 years at this point, 9 years. But we're actually, even though we moved away, now it has to be longer than 8 years because, because we moved away from North Carolina. it'll be 7 years in February that we moved away, that we've been back down here in Florida.
Yeah.
But we have been in touch. But actually, one of the positive things out of COVID is that we have been in touch a lot more.
Yeah.
We're talking at least weekly, face to face on Zoom.
Yeah.
And we're talking mostly about art and pottery, because you teach pottery and I teach pottery, and other things, obviously, about life in general.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I have really come to embrace, and I don't know I know we've probably talked about this before, but you've taken my in-person classes and now online. And I actually think that online is more intimate. And I don't know if your mom feels that too, because everybody has a front row seat, for one.
Right.
And they're also not looking across the table or to the person beside them or anything like that to see what they're doing. Right. Which I think really kind of makes people hesitate when they look over and they see something completely different than their own paper or their own page.
Right.
You start to question what you're doing, and that's not the point. The point of art journaling is to release your own inner voice.
Right.
So
yeah. And when I took the classes I took at Art Bloom,
mm-hmm.
It was also a social outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had friends in there, and sometimes we would be cutting up during class, and you had all the supplies there that we need. I think we brought, our paper and pads, but you had everything there. And and we all tried to sit at the same table. I mean, it was very I don't know.
It was a little bit more entertainment.
Yeah. And so so it's different, but it's nice. I mean, my mom's created her own little space for this.
Mm-hmm.
She's, found a room she likes that has good lighting, and she leaves her, paints out, and has, has had Dad bring in, another light, and she said the other day that it was a little cool in that room, so he's brought the space heater in, and so
nice.
That's her own little space. But it doesn't have to be that way. I've got a box, like a Rubbermaid box, and I keep all my stuff in there, and I spread it all out during class, and I box it up and put it away. Because I get busy on
right. And you're working from home for the most part,
right? And so that becomes my office the next morning,
right?
And so but.
Yeah. I do think one of the biggest things that I've noticed that is different too, besides, and like you said, she leaves hers out every day. And for the majority of my students now doing it online, they're working on it through the week, which is phenomenal, because, it used to be, and I know people work and have other things, but it used to be when they were coming to either my classes at the museum or even in my studio, that that book stayed in the car until the next class. And so now for most people, they're getting it out, and they're leaving it out, and they're working on it, and that's kind of their escape through the week.
Right.
So and you have you are still working every day, thank goodness, and you're working from home for the most part.
Yep.
So I think that's awesome that you can kind of fit this into too. And how what do you, besides the gift to your mom and the lasting effects, and you've talked to me so many times about her reflections on it too, but what about you? What, besides the fact that it's something for you to do each week, I know depending on the topic, you have your own words that you share with me. But as far as like a mental wellness kind of thing and an emotional well-being, especially when you're home, do you feel like this has contributed to that in many ways as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I know you want me to be like, oh, the journaling, I'm like journaling and learning all this stuff about myself, but honestly, just the human connection is probably the most therapeutic for me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's important, because it is a live class. It's not a video class. So that's one of the positive. Oh yeah, no, I get it, because you're not really into the other stuff, but that connection you really are.
Yeah. And so that just, I mean, and and in many ways it's, it is what it is, that this is how we're getting human connection,
Right.
is through a computer monitor, but it's still fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I get to see you. You get to see me without a mask.
That's
so,
right.
You know, I've got friends that I go visit and talk to them in their front yard.
Yeah.
And I have a mask on.
Right.
They have a mask
on. Right.
The rarity that I see them without a mask usually is on the computer or FaceTime, and it's a, you know, it's different. But yeah, and you know, I'm not knocking all the journaling stuff, because you do have some pretty cool prompts, and you do pull out some pretty sweet pieces of poetry that go with the prompts and stuff like that. And I do enjoy all that stuff.
Yeah. You're so funny.
Yeah. You know, I started taking, you know, way back when I started taking the classes at Art Blooms in Shelby, you know, I thought, well, you know, this would be good because I might learn some technique that would be good for pottery. And, you know, even though there's not a lot, actually, I had a potter friend that once told me, if you can draw it, you can make it.
Yeah.
And so, and I was like, well, that sucks because I can't draw anything, you know? But it's true, you know, you have worked with us on, you know, faces, and knowing where the nose and the mouth and gritting that all off. I've never had that.
Yeah.
And so that's important, because I do face stuff every now and then.
Right.
I do angels and things like that with my pottery. And so to knowing the proportions of that, the other night we did an owl.
We did.
I never have drawn an owl before. And so now I'm thinking, what if I balled out the clay and did those shapes that we drew in clay? That would be great for an owl, and you know, and stuff like that. So
well, I remember early on in our friendship when you came to Art Blooms, and you did do some of the art journaling classes as well as the paint on canvas things. But I remember we did one thing, and I want to say, oh gosh, I can't even remember what artist we were doing. But and you said, I'm not an artist, I'm a potter. And I like lit, and you're like, but that, if you're a potter, you're also an artist, because you're creating, you're making art and it's coming out, and you like battled that whole idea.
Probably that dumb Starry Night.
It might have been the Van Gogh. I'm not quite sure what it was, but it was so funny, because I will remember that for the rest of my life. You just screamed me out, I'm not an artist, I'm a potter. And it was just so wild, because in these years that have gone by, and especially in the last 6, 7, 8 months, however long it's been that we've been doing the art journaling too, you have definitely improved your artistic skills, and they were there all the time, but you weren't necessarily ready to experience them or explore them. And now you don't have a choice.
Right. Well, and too, a lot of it is to understand the properties of the materials that you're working with as well.
That's true.
And how to make those do what they're meant to do, you know?
Right. And that's a key. Honestly, I was writing about this in a blog that I have yet to post, but is that I went from an artist that did all kinds of mediums. And I still, if I'm on canvas, I'll do, you know, oils or acrylics. But in my art journal, I left that mixed media idea and just went to watercolors, watercolor paints, and watercolor pencils, and then maybe some pen and ink, and of course pencil. And I feel like I am seeing such an improvement in everybody's and I don't want to say their pages, but in their relationship with their pages. They're so much happier with the results. And I think it really is because we're not messing around trying to deal with all these different, glue this here, put this there, tear this here, use this paper here, you know, figure out all this. We're using these mediums and truly letting our voices come out through them. And the end result, and again, I'm not about the end result, I'm all about the journey. But I think people are more engaged. Yes, I think more people are engaged with their end result after going through that journey, because it is a journey of learning in a way that you're building on your skills with this medium rather than jumping all over the place and being frantic about not understanding what to do.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
So it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I know that you combat stress with, besides art journaling, but with pottery. And, you always are doing something for others as well.
Yeah.
And I just have to give you a little pat on the back, those kudos to you, because in the beginning of the pandemic, and I can't remember, I think it might have been for Mother's Day or not, but you made these hearts out of clay that you gifted to businesses so that they could actually gift those to their customers.
Yeah.
And I didn't write this. I didn't even talk to you that we were going to bring this up, but it kind of dawned on me. I really want to share, because and I don't have it on, but the shirt I got from Peace Avenue says kindness matters.
Yeah, I like that.
And you are like poster child of kindness. Oh. And tell us a little bit about those hearts and what the intention was for those, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so when businesses are, especially when businesses are shut down or very limited, they're not having the income come in that they need to and stuff. But for us to buy gift cards from them is so important. And so, because I actually put this in a holiday post because I do all the Facebook posts for the town, but I said, buying a gift card is like a promise.
Right.
And it's promising that one day when things are better, you'll be back to support them and use the gift card. But usually when people use gift cards, they use, if you get, a $25 gift card to a restaurant, and take your family out,
right.
You got $25 off of a bill.
Right, right.
So anyway, so we were looking at so many different ideas that other towns were using all across the country, and trying to figure out a way to encourage, people to support these businesses. And so I was like, I've got this Uptown Shelby, our logo on a stamp, and I'm just going to stamp out these hearts. They came out to be about this big because they had to fit the logo. And I don't even know. I had one around somewhere, but I don't know where it went. Oh, I see it. It's hanging on a tree outside.
Not going out in that cold.
Yeah, no. But anyways, and so I sent a message out to all the businesses, and I said, if you would like a number of these to promote a gift card sale. So, if a person buys a $50 gift card to this business, like Buffalo Creek Gallery or whatever, then they get this free, thank you gift.
Right.
And man, people love those things.
That's awesome.
And not all the businesses, but a number of the businesses, asked for them. Some businesses sold out really fast out of them. I think I did over 100 of those. Not a ton. I mean, I was prepared to be making hearts all summer long, but but it was nice because I mean, that's $5,000 in gift cards that that probably got sold and and helped the business out. I'm not in the Monday class because I do yoga on Monday nights. And for the yoga studio that I've been a part of for probably like 4 years now, I actually did some mugs for them.
Yeah.
And so that studio did, I think it was $100 unlimited yoga for 1 month for $100.
Wow.
And they got the mug.
Wow.
And so that helped that business, for a month or two, because they went from being in a studio where everybody was very tight, and a lot of that was a support group, be in a class together, to Zoom classes, which, if you haven't been part of Zoom classes, you think it's very impersonal.
Right.
And
it's
until
completely opposite of that. Yeah.
I mean, so on Monday nights I take yoga, and we all log in about 10 minutes before class, and we talk and we cut up and we laugh. And sometimes yoga doesn't start, it starts 5 minutes late because we're still cutting up and laughing and talking and telling stories and stuff. And then we do yoga. And then after yoga, we sit around and we talk. I mean, it is like we're at the studio.
Right. That's so awesome.
But we're safe. We're not breathing on people. We didn't have to wear masks during yoga. We set up our mats in our favorite location in our homes. And I think it's kind of cool. Because of the yoga class, I actually said, you know what? I should put a tree up.
Oh, wow.
It's little. I mean, it's going to be planted in my yard. It was probably 3 foot tall. But because these people see my living room every Monday, I'm going to not be a Grinch. I'm going to put up a tree. And so behind me, when I'm doing yoga, was this tree for a few classes. And everybody's like, you put a tree up, Tricia. I was like, yeah, figured I needed to, you know.
But that's awesome, because then that how'd you embrace this season more too?
Yeah.
You know, because it was very different for you this season, this holiday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so it feels like they've been to my house.
Yeah.
And just like with our journaling, this is the room I do our journaling in. It's got the best light and stuff like that. And so all the art journaling students in my Tuesday class have been in this room with me.
Right.
And so it's like kind of like I've had company. You know?
I think it is. I really do. And I think it's a wonderful kind of company. Definitely the mask makes a difference. I'm glad you touched on that, because I still taught in person at Florida Southern. I'm a college professor. And I remember kind of halfway, my husband did have COVID, so I had to be home and teach remote for several weeks. And I had remote students also, but I remember at the time that I was home teaching remotely that one of my students said, wow, this is the first time I've seen your face. And you don't think about how much expression comes from your face when you're talking to people, and that really is covered up. So I do feel like our connection through Zoom in so many ways is more intimate. I'm excited, and I will always teach online now. I'm not going back to in-person studio classes except for retreats at different places. But I am excited because I have people from all over. I have somebody from Malaysia that takes my classes. You know, I have people from all over. And it's so nice because we're bringing our own local to the meetings. You know, people, like you said, you get to know each other, and you know, we have people in Missouri, and we have people in Michigan, and we have people in California, and all of these different places, and Malaysia, and people start asking questions, you know, about where they live, and I just think it's such a benefit to showing that community and connecting. It's all about connection, and everybody's connected, and it's really lovely. I just love that. And also, you can be wherever you want to be for the class.
Yeah.
And Tricia, so Tricia, if you're part of my Behind the Brush monthly membership group, Tricia actually did a solo walk story for me. And that's when I asked people to take about a 5-minute video of where they are and kind of narrate where they are. And one week she was out camping, and she did art journaling class when she was camping. And it happened to be the first week of the month. And every first class of the month, we do a burn pot where we write down our woes, and I light them on fire and I put them in my pot, or we write down blessings and I put them in my pot and light those up. Either way, but Tricia was actually able to do it with us at our campfire, and she was able to use, she was all set. She was ready. I mean, she went camping with this in mind.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, you know, at that point, you know, I was just like, hey, I can be quarantined here at my house, or I have a sweet little camper. I can go to a campground and be quarantined as well. I mean,
exactly.
It doesn't matter. And so, but I knew that week, it was actually the week of my birthday. And I knew that, you know, that week, I would be camping through my yoga class on Monday night and through my art journaling class on Tuesday night. And so I just made sure I had everything in my car I needed. And so I had my yoga mat with me. I had my art journaling stuff with me. And so yeah, it was great. And so I
That's
just
awesome.
set up on the picnic table. And it was
Yeah.
funny because it was just that time of year where it was starting to get dark, earlier.
Right.
And by the time we finished the art journaling class, I mean, I was on my picnic table and my camper was only like maybe 15 feet away from the picnic table. But man, it was pitch black out there. But I had my lantern and everything going so I could
It's so
see.
awesome.
And the funny thing is, that is what I really could not see very well
Uh-huh.
what I was painting. And that is like one of my favorite paintings.
It's like intuitive painting. That's why I love intuitive painting.
That's the one where we did all the flowers and the
Yep.
hydrangea and oh my gosh,
yeah,
they all
the
turned
autumn
out,
spray. It was the autumn spray. The
yeah,
flower
that
autumn
turned
flower
out
spray.
so good.
Yeah.
And I
That's so
couldn't see
awesome.
half of what I was doing.
That's
It was
so
great.
awesome.
But yeah,
Well, it was so fun. And because we got to be camping with you, we got to see the fire,
yeah.
you know,
I showed you my
and
camper.
yeah, it was so awesome.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
right out, I think like a week or two after that, we had another one of our students in Michigan, and she was out camping, and she did hers there, and they were roasting marshmallows, I think, right beside her and all that.
Yeah.
So it was so exciting. And so, it's funny because, COVID has really had us change the way that we look at things, perspectives, and I'm so much more at peace right now. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm not rushing around trying to teach in a gazillion different places and leaving one place to be at another place in 30 minutes, be set up and all that.
Yeah.
I love teaching from my studio, but the biggest thing that I love is that we're making intimate connections with people, because even though there might be 20 people in a class, it's still like there's one person you're talking straight to. And I really love that embrace of the connection that we have with people. But yeah, the camping was one of my favorite memories of the past of 2020, because I'm not a camper. So if I can virtually go camping with you, it makes me so happy. I can light fire in my studio since I love fire.
Right.
And I could have even gotten a marshmallow to roast or something, a vegan marshmallow to roast while you were there. And you did a video after that. It wasn't part of my art journaling, but you did a video after that about something that is really specific to Shelby, which is liver mush.
Right. Yeah.
And obviously not vegan, but I did use your recipe and put tofu in it instead.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and made it here over our grill. So that's kind of the extent. That's the extent that I had.
Yeah, so Shelby is the home of the Liver Mush Festival, and because of COVID, we weren't able to have the Liver Mush Festival. So our tourism division, they decided to just do some special things liver mush wise in lieu of having the festival, and one was a video contest where people got to video their favorite way of preparing liver mush. And so I was like, well, I'm going camping next week. So, and I came in there was a few categories, and I forget what category I was in, but I came in second place.
Awesome. Very good. That was awesome.
So if this ever happens again, I'm going to have to up my game and win that, because the prizes were awesome.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, you besides you being like the poster child for kindness, because I really do believe that, I think you're doing a great job in embracing the present. It's a big challenge for so many people to do. And what I hope that the audience actually hears is the creative way that you have really kind of turned these hardships around, especially for small businesses. As a small business owner, and I've owned my own business for over 20 years, and some of it has been retail, some of it has been traveling to other retail venues, and then whether I was, on an invited artist to Disney, or I'm doing art shows or whatever, and now I'm not doing any of that, obviously I'm at home. Right. You still have to look out of the box. Yeah. And, for me, it's very passionate for me to do this, to inspire and to take people along on a journey of art and creativity. And you do the same thing in a very large way because it's all about the community. And I really value that coming from you, because, you know, if there was ever a doubt, I know when I had Art Blooms of what to do, I would ask you, you know, how do we increase, you know, how do we get people in here? What do we do? What's creative and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I can do the art stuff,
Yeah.
but the thinking about that was just challenging. So marketing is the key. And you've come up with a lot of gems of marketing for my business as well, even currently. So I love that. But I so appreciate it. And I think, you know, the biggest thing that I, of course, appreciate as the art journaling teacher, obviously, is you coming to class every week, and your mom, and, you know, really embracing the journey that we do through the art. And it is a journey to hearing our inner voice. Mm-hmm. And I know I call you out on a lot of that, because sometimes you don't want to listen to your inner voice, or it just comes out not unfiltered, which is exactly what it's supposed to be.
I was thinking a minute ago, she knows when you're rolling your eyes.
Oh, I do.
So you can't get away with anything on Zoom either, because she sees it and she says it and looks at me because she knows I'm rolling my eyes, and sure enough, I probably am, or
that's right,
a big sigh or something like that. And
that's right. Well, one of the things that I was really why I had delayed going online, and I had bought the equipment actually 3 years into Art Blooms. I had bought all the equipment to take Art Blooms online for teaching live. That was one of my goals back then. And it took me, you know, 8 years to get to there. Yeah. Because I didn't want to miss I feed off of my students. So I'm going to teach according to what you need. And so my lesson plans are very flexible in the fact that I can look over your shoulder and in my mind, like, okay, you know what, let's go ahead and do that. And that's how I taught elementary school. That's how I taught college. That's how I taught every grade that I've ever taught, and including adults. And I was really nervous that I wasn't going to be able to do that with online. And the interesting part, again, we don't have masks on. Your faces tell stories. And I'm really lucky that I have been able to look at everybody and not call them out. I only call you out. You're the one I call out.
That's true.
But everybody else, and I can pretty much read what they're thinking or read where they're going, and sense that they're either frustrated. And I think frustration is a great thing. I like to push you to the point of frustration, but then bring you back, because that's where the growth occurs. But it's really a surprise to me with online teaching that can occur. And I'm really happy about being able to continue that method of teaching. So I love it. But yeah, I do call you out. I love that you're unfiltered too. Yeah. And you know, that's how Tricia is, and that's how I always am. And so I love it. I think it's just a great thing. Well, anyways, I think that we've talked. You and I can talk and talk and talk for the rest of the day.
Oh yeah, we could easily.
But I want to thank you for being here, and I want to wish everybody out there again the rest of this holiday week as we look into New Year's, and to think about how we're walking into our new year. And that's actually, it's not really something we're going to talk about in art journaling tonight, but we're going to touch upon it a little bit with Kokopelli. We're not getting too deep, but we are going to have some fun. And so if any of you haven't heard, the art journaling classes for this week, both Monday and Tuesday night, are free for everybody. And you can go to my Facebook page, Rachelle Eason Artist, and learn a little bit more about that. There's actually a link on an event page that you can come to either Monday or Tuesday night. It's a full 2-hour class. So a lot of times when I've done the little free classes before, they haven't been the full 2-hour class. We're doing the full 2-hour class, and I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to see how this unfolds with Kokopelli and celebrating, and just so much fun. So anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to our Facebook audience and thank them for being here. So Tricia, thank you.
Hi, Facebook people.
So I appreciate all of you. And remember, you can catch my other podcast on Anchor or Spotify, or just go to my YouTube channel and you can actually see us when we are talking, which is kind of fun because, of course, those facial expressions make a difference. So have a great week and Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.